Oh, good.
Yeah. We've had instances of people stealing equipment, getting caught on camera.
Why wouldn't you call those people out? Who's stealing equipment? What the fuck? That's wild.
And it's just like, these things are normal. I totally get it.
Who's Fierro?
Do you think it's normal to have your employees stealing equipment from your small business?
Is that?
My brothers.
Okay, sweet.
It's cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're talking about stealing.
Tim Pool has been whining about how much work he's doing, how the people that work for him are lazy, and generally just saying Tim Pool whiny things. Destiny broke this down on his show. We're going to take a look at clips from Tim Pool's show as well as Destiny reacting to Tim Pool. I'll share my thoughts on this from time to time. Let's check this out together.
Stuff, and I just
and you're like, I want that Fierro.
I want that Fierro.
Right when I got out, I was like, it's been a while since I've seen a Fierro.
He does.
I like the red one I saw though, and I remember. Anyway, I don't want to throw you off, but
no, but it's like, this morning.
That's all I'm saying.
So it's we wrap the show Monday through Thursday around 11.
Yeah.
And then I have to go right to bed basically so that I can get enough sleep, and sometimes I don't. So then I wake up around 7:30, so I can eat breakfast, get ready, come in, and then try and figure out how to get the show done. As of recent, because we want to do Culture War, that means if I'm going to balance family and these shows and have the show be effective without dwindling into obscurity, I can't do 4 shows a week. You can't do it right now. Everybody's got content every single day of the week, so that means I need to do at least 5 days and then record extra content for the weekends so that I can have a persistent presence on the platform. Otherwise, YouTube punishes you. But it's also just about, like, are you a company that doesn't work 3 days out of the week? I mean, then people are going to go other places. If a coffee shop's closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then
people are going to go watch elsewhere.
However, I can't do all of these things at the same time. I can't wake up at 7, go in, computer's fried, studio doesn't work, no backups were created. I have no means of producing the show that makes money to run the business. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to make sure that I run and maintain and build the system. The first Timcast IRL studio that we built, I built by myself. All of it. Now we're at the point where we've got multiple people and we've built this big studio. I don't know what is what. When I built the studio, I knew every output, I knew every input. Now I have no idea. So when the computer breaks, I'm like, I don't know why. Why can't I reboot the computer? I don't know. And so that means I can't turn it on. Where's the backup system? It was never set up. Okay, well, I can't do morning, night, and family stuff at the same time. Impossible.
Damn,
so
do you need a backup computer system? We don't got one of those. Oh, shit.
So at this point, it's a cascade of failures and, straws on the camel's back where I'm like, okay, I don't think this is it. And so
he makes it sound like he wanted the studio set up to run without a producer there, like how ours runs. So how does he have 30 employees if he doesn't even have a producer for his live show? What the fuck is he? Where are all these employees at? What the fuck?
You got to wonder with Tim Pool, Destiny's asking who are all these employees. Destiny or Tim Pool has talked about how, he built this skate park and stuff at his compound in West Virginia. And Tim Pool has all of his bros there hanging out all the time. I'm sure they're probably on his payroll. And then he's found out, it's friends or family members or whatever, and they're just not working very hard. They're just hangers on. And you also have to wonder, when the revelations dropped about the Russian money that he was getting $400,000 a month, you kind of wonder how many of those people that he had working for him, friends and family, once they figured out that Tim Pool was getting this $400,000 a month, they wanted some of their cut of that, a bigger cut probably than what they were getting. So you probably have some disgruntled people working for him, again, former, buddies or former buddies, and they're stealing stuff or they're just disgruntled in general because they're not getting a big enough piece of the pie in their minds of these hundreds of thousands of dollars that Tim Pool was making. And also, since that money has gone away, you kind of wonder if he's cut what he's paying some of these people. Just all speculation on my part about Tim Pool, but I think these are pretty educated guesses.
Your failure, though.
It is my failure.
Why,
absolutely.
Practice? How do you see
the
that?
person at the top.
Always. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it lies on you. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. That's what they see.
I mean, I shouldn't rely on people. If I say the computer's broken, I need a backup studio, I should personally go and build a backup studio. The problem is, I can't do everything.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but so there is something I can do. If I set up my own studio for my morning show, and I can make sure it works, and I can have, youtube.com/TimCastNews, there will never be a failure ever again.
Yeah.
The show will run every single day. I will work a full day of work instead of a double day of work 5 days a week. And I'll make a lot of money doing it without doing a single ad read, all through programmatic YouTube ads. So if we've come to the point where I have to build the machines and run the show and be the CEO, then one of these things is I can't juggle them all.
Sure.
And so it seems like the most reasonable thing to do right now is literally just go back to doing the morning show. No Timcast IRL, single hosted, 0 employees, and then I can produce content, and that'll be it. And then I have to worry about running Timcast IRL.
You twice today, I think you mentioned managerial issues.
Yeah, and so one of the reasons I've been talking
is that
about...
right at you?
No, I'm not a manager.
I don't know.
I wish I was.
I was just
we wouldn't have this problem.
I'm just trying to add some levity here.
I'm not convinced. I mean,
well,
I've been talking about the managerial crisis in this country for like a year, and without getting into personal issues on the show.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, like, how's it all happening at once? Like, exactly. It's like, no, we've been having like managerial struggles for a long time.
Yeah, because you have a good relationship with these guys, though. So it's like, how do you?
Yeah. Well, most people here, right?
Well, of course.
But it's like, look at it this way. If everyone's 90% doing well, that extra 10% from each employee that they're missing, I have to do. And at a certain point, it's not possible.
Well, and the extra 10% is what each person has to do to actually get it to thrive. That's the difference between 90 and 100.
Well, I mean, the challenge is, right now, the big challenge is that anybody capable of doing it will do it on their own. And that's social media has created that potentiality, and that's fine. But if I go to someone who is talented and capable and I say, hey, we need a person who can film skateboarding, for instance, they're going to say, I'll just make my own YouTube channel and go film it myself. I don't need to work for you. And I'm like, fair point. You're right. So then we find someone, we're like, what about you? You seem to be able to, like, sure. And then 3 months goes by and we don't do anything.
So he can't find, Tim Pool can't find anybody anywhere who would just be willing to be an employee, and they don't want to do it on their own. There have to be some capable people out there that Tim Pool could find. I mean, maybe Tim Pool's just a jerk and bad to work for. That could be part of it. Maybe these people just don't want to work for Tim Pool. Maybe that's what he's not figuring out.
But what's more your passion? Like, what's your enjoyment now? Do you still like doing it? This is it. Yeah.
And so that's why it's frustrating when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, holy crap, Trump on the fry.
There is a challenge in finding people to work when you're doing like YouTube and Twitch and stuff, finding people who want to do manager or production related stuff, because chances are if you're on-screen talent, you probably get along with the production people, and then because you have a friendly back and forth, eventually they want to be on-screen talent and they all end up wanting to do that anyway. Like, that can happen, but I don't know what, he's not really giving any specifics, so it's hard to know what's actually happening here.
Hire?
Yeah.
Look, I was like, and then there's so much I want to talk about. And
Yeah, that was a big story.
I can't talk about any of it. Like, one of the Krasensteins attacked Trump saying he's attacking Kamala for not being at McDonald's. Can he prove he was at 9/11 clearing out rubble? And I'm like, here's a picture of Donald Trump. That was from ABC News of down on after a week after 9/11. Like,
Yeah.
Trump just said he was down there helping a little bit. Yes.
Well, allegedly, Tim Walsh is doing DoorDash, so you got that going.
No, is that a joke?
Yes. But I just want to see what they would do.
I just stored it online. Thank you.
But it's
My gut feeling is that he, this is a gut feeling that I have, and I can't prove this because I don't know. This is what it feels like his business is set up as. It feels like he wants to do 4 shows a week where he basically just shows up, turns on the streams, okay, and then he sits in front of the camera and he talks about things. I don't think he does much in terms of show prep or research, because it doesn't seem informed on anything, and he just repeats kind of like the talking points. I'm not like trying to talk shit. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like something that he does a lot of research for his shows. He probably has at least one employee to fly people in and do bookings and everything. He might have 2 people that handle that. There's him, Tim, and then he might have like a co-host. I'm trying to think now if he even has a producer for these shows or if it's all auto switching. Maybe he'll have a producer. But then it sounds like what he has on the side is he's got a ton of these other projects where he's like, bro, like, you guys should come in, like, we're friends, like, come and like work. And so they kind of show up, they either hang out at the house, they hang out at the skate park, and Tim's like, we should like shoot content or do something. Like, let's like, make some money and do stuff. And they're like, yeah, sure, sounds good. But there's not a creative director. There's not like anybody pushing them to actually do a project or create a show or do anything. So these people just basically hang out on Tim's property and they kind of hang out and do whatever. And he's like, maybe something will happen at some point. However, all of this was probably okay in the last year because they had that huge windfall from Russia, right? He was getting $5 million of extra money to basically do nothing extra. And that money was probably going basically exclusively to him.
Yep, that's exactly what I was saying. The same thing as what Destiny is saying here. He was getting all that money, and once, his bros figured out that he was getting all that money and taking all of it, they probably wanted some of that, and then they were bitter, and he's probably had, again, just like Destiny's saying here, just speculating, but he's probably had some fallings out. Is that the correct way to say that? He's probably fallen out with some of his bros and maybe even his family members who were just hanging out, and it was chill and all that, and things got really serious when they found out about the Russian money. So I think Destiny is absolutely correct there in terms of Tim Pool, but Tim Pool's going to continue to whine about this. I get, there wouldn't be anything keeping the guy from just streamlining this, cutting out some of these people that he says are not pulling their weight, and he could just there's a whole lot of people that are just, I'm somebody, I'm not in the league of Tim Pool, don't have anyways near as many subscribers as that, or an audience or following or anything like that. But I'm just doing this by myself. There's a whole lot of YouTubers that they're just working on their own They're not hiring a bunch of their friends and family. You know, they have 30 employees to do that. And he probably started out that way, and Tim Pool did, and it was probably much more fun. But what do you think about this breakdown of what Tim Pool is saying? I mean, this got a lot of coverage that he's saying, you know, he wants to spend more time with his family, whatever family that is. And I think Destiny's correct with what he's saying here, his breakdown of what has happened with Tim Pool. But what do you think? Do you agree with Destiny, his assessment here of Tim Pool? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. Comment about Destiny, Tim Pool, anything else that you want to comment about. As I said, you know, my channel's pretty small, but it continues to grow fairly quickly. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. That will help me to grow the channel and bring out more content like this. This is Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.